Before I start, I want to apologize for my English. It's not my mother tongue because I'm from the Czech Republic, so if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask in the comments. Thanks, and let's get started. Okay guys, first of all, you need to create the new Unity project in Unity Hub. We're gonna use the 3D core, name it like inventory system. We're gonna make the new folder, inventory system. We're gonna save it here and create a new project. When the project loads, we're gonna open the scene folder, create a new scene, name it testing scene. In our scene, we're gonna press this 2D button that will change the scene to 2D view. We're gonna create the new empty object in the scene. We're gonna name it game UI. In the game UI, we're gonna make the UI and the canvas. We're gonna name it game canvas. And in the game canvas, we're gonna make the empty game object named inventory. Now, we have the game object with inventory. Now, in the inventory game object, we're gonna create image. We're gonna name it background. We can use the text mesh pro text. We're gonna import it because it's not a part of the default Unity. When we import it, we're gonna name it like inventory. We're gonna change the background to like 500 to 500, maybe 6. Okay, I think this is good. We're gonna change the color and create the UI text. We're gonna make the text to inventory, change the alignment, and we're gonna put it like there in the middle. Okay, now we have our background with the text. We're gonna close this game object. In the inventory, we're gonna create the new game object named slot grid. In the slot grid, we're gonna add the component named grid layout group. We're gonna add it. And now we have slot grid. We need to change the size of it, same as the background. Okay. And if we're going to make game object in the slot grid, like UI and the button, we see we can change in the slot grid game object, we can change the position, cell size, and XI and the spacing. Okay, now in the slot grid, we're gonna create UI button and name it slot. This button, we're gonna remove the text, and in the button, we're gonna create the new script named slot, create an add, and we will wait until it's okay, and we're gonna open it. In our slot script, we're gonna remove the update and the start function. We're gonna create the new bool, public bool, and name it empty. Second, we're gonna create the like what we want, like public string, item name, public int, item count, and the main thing is a public sprite item icon. We're gonna save it, go back to Unity. We can see we have the slot script here. We can see there is an empty string, bool. After creating the script slot, we're gonna click on the slot. We're gonna create the new panel inside of our slot. And we're gonna add the UI text mesh. We're gonna name it count. We're gonna scale it. Change the color. Change the alignment. And we will put it like there. I'm gonna change the color of the slot because I don't like this color. I don't want the slots make something like this, because there's our inventory text. So I will change the slot grid to like this. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, I will remove these testing slots. In our panel, we're gonna create a new script named grab manager. We're gonna add it. After it load, we're gonna open it. When our script are created, we're gonna make the new using Unity engine and .ui and using Unity engine .event system. In our class grab manager, we're gonna add the begin drag handler, drag handler, and drag handler. If you don't know what I'm saying, you can look at my website where I gradually give the source code, so go check it out. Next, we're gonna make the variable named private slot and name it current slot. Next, we're gonna make public sprite UI mask. We're gonna use this sprite for the empty slot. We're gonna make private canvas, private graphic raycaster, public game object drag handler, and the private vector2 last mouse position. Okay, so we have these variables, and now we're gonna make the function in the start. We're gonna make UI mask get component image dot sprite. So now when our script gonna start, the UI mask gonna get the default image of our slot, so it's gonna be a background. We're gonna set this image into UI mask, and now it's like invisible. In our grab manager, we're gonna make a public void on grab pointer event data and event data. Okay, in this function, we're gonna check if the current slot is empty. So if current slot dot empty, we're gonna return because we don't want grab the empty slot. Next, we're gonna create vector2 current position, current mouse position, event data dot position. This will get the position of our mouse, and the transform dot position at current position. Next, we made a new function on BeginTrack, so we made public void on BeginTrack pointer event data. In this function, we're gonna use current slot equals this dot transform dot parent dot get component and slot. So if we're gonna start grabbing the current slot, check the parent get component slot and save as the private slot current slot, and then on the grab we're gonna check if empty. If empty, we're gonna return it and not gonna grab it. Next, we're gonna check again if current slot dot empty. We're gonna return it. Last mouse position dot transform dot position. We're gonna use the transform dot local position equals new vector3 event data dot delta dot x event data dot delta dot epsilon and 0. And then make this transform dot lossy scale dot x. Next, we're gonna make the public void again, but now we're gonna name it on and drag. Pointer event again, event data. We're gonna let this empty for now. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It's not on drop, but on drop. Track. Okay. Now, if we're gonna go back to Unity, we can change the color of the panel. We're gonna change it like for red. We can make 2 slots. Okay. Now I'm gonna press the play. You can see I can move the position of the panel, and if I drop it, it's gonna stay. Again, I can do it again and again, again. Okay, but now we want to swap this item to another slot, but we can now because it's not completed yet. So let's go back to our grep system. We go on BeginTrack. We're gonna go here. We're gonna check if canvas is not equals null. We're gonna make canvas equals drag handler dot get component canvas. Next, we're gonna copy this graycaster equals canvas dot get component graphic raycaster. Under this, we're gonna make transform dot set parent canvas dot transform true, and there we're gonna make transform dot set as last sibling and make it like this. In our function on end drag, we're gonna again check if current slot dot empty. We're gonna return it. We're gonna make the variable results equals new list raycast result graycaster dot raycast event data and the result. We're gonna make a function for each. Double press the tab and it's gonna complete it. We're gonna make the hit in results. We're gonna make the new variable mean slot equals hit dot game object dot get component and slot. Now we're gonna check if we're gonna trigger with the slot. So we're gonna swap the items to another slot. So now we're gonna make if slot. We're gonna check if slot dot empty. Now we need to go to our script slot and make the public int slot ID. Go back to drag manager, and now we're gonna make var current slot ID equals current slot I dot slot ID. Another variable new slot ID equals slot dot slot ID. Now we're gonna make the variable again another item equals slot dot transform dot get child and 0. We're gonna copy this dot set parent current slot dot transform another item transform dot local position equals vector3 dot 0. Now we're gonna change the slots because we're gonna grab from one slot to another slot. We need to change the game object of the slot. So we're gonna make current slot of this script equals the slot. So the current slot will gonna change to the grabbed slot where you drop it. Transform dot set parent current slot dot transform. Next is transform dot local position equals vector3 dot 0. And now we're gonna break this function. After the for each function, we're gonna make the transform dot set parent current slot dot transform and transform dot local position equals vector3 dot 0. Okay, now we can remove this testing slot and copy some slots here. In the slot grid, we're gonna make child alignment in the upper center because it looks so fucking cool, or middle center if you want. Now, if we make some slots, we will press the play, and we cannot because in our slot drag handler missing the drag handler. But what is drag handler? Now we're gonna create the new script named player inventory. We're gonna open it. In the player inventory, we're gonna make the public slot slots. In the start function, we're gonna make for. We're gonna press the tab twice, and we're gonna use length as a slot dot length. In the for I, we're gonna make slot I dot ID equals I. So now we're gonna make the new public game object game UI. Next we're gonna make slots I dot get component in children grep manager dot drop handler equals game UI. After our script is completed, we're gonna put player inventory in our game UI script. We're gonna open these slots and click on this lock, select all these slots and put it here. In game UI, we're gonna game canvas and drag it here. Unlock the game object, find all panels in your slots, select it, and the UI mask, we're gonna select the UI mask. Now let's go. Now we're gonna remove all these slots and gonna test with only two. The first one is not empty, so we're gonna change the color of the panel because it's the item. We're gonna change it to green. And the second one, we're gonna make it empty. So now when we start the game, we can pick the normal item, but the empty slot, we cannot pick it. We just cannot. Now, if we go back to grep manager, we're gonna make this slot empty, dot empty equals true. And on the end of the script, we're gonna make it false. Okay, now if we go back to the Unity, we're gonna start and we try to grab and drop on the second. You see, this slot is now empty and second one is not empty. So I can grab it again and drop it here. Now it's empty and the second one is not empty. If we add more slots, we can see we can drop and drop to another slots like this, there, 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 there. Now I will make the time lapse of a little bit changing the UI. just made this item like an something like food or something like that, and you can see you can swap it like in normal inventory, like in Rust or something. That's all for today's episode. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask in the comments. You can find the source code on my website, and if you want to support my work, you can jump on my Patreon. Thanks and bye for now.